y'all? Welcome back to Faded Truth. Before you do anything, like, share, and subscribe. You know this is the place to find upcoming actors, musicians, creatives, entertainment. This is the place to be. Today I got Mr. Quincy Giles on the show.
Yo.
You may have seen him in Power. You see him in Law and Order. You see him on CBS. And how you feeling today, Mr. Giles?
Feeling good. Feeling nice.
Feeling all right? You looking good.
Feeling I appreciate that.
What you been putting on your skin? You got some avocado? What you
honestly, people be asking me that, and I feel bad because I don't even treat it the way I should. I just throw water. That's it.
You just throw water?
Just water.
It's that East Coast water. You can't do that shit in Vegas because that shit will dry you out.
Oh, yeah, I bet. I don't know what's in that. Yeah, cheers, yeah.
Were you born and raised in New York?
No. So I was born and raised in Indiana, actually. And I moved to Boston for school. I was playing football and I studied business. And then when I graduated, started working. And then I kind of got plugged into modeling, like someone put me on there. So I started traveling back and forth between Boston and New York. When I finally made the switch to leave my job, commit full time to acting, after a couple things happened, that's when I started, traveling to New York. I'll stay in New York or I'll go to Atlanta. I'm pretty much now anywhere I need to be.
From a young age, did you know that you had like a special talent as far as acting?
Hell no.
No, you weren't like one of the people like in front of your family trying to do shit?
No. I mean, I may have been a little ham. Like, yeah, I may have I was outgoing, but no, I was an athlete. Like I played sports and then played football through college, and I never did theater or nothing like that, especially at that time. I feel like that stuff's like kind of cool now to do. Whereas, back when I was in high school, like that shit, like the theater.
Yeah, you were a drama geek if you did.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So I didn't even think about it. It wasn't like I really got pushed into this lane, to be very honest with you. I didn't even think about it before like I really started putting pictures on Instagram.
Okay, so what was the first step into acting? Like,
yeah, so
where does it start?
So I had put pictures up on Instagram, right? Because I wanted to start modeling, because I was still working, like I was a financial analyst for Liberty Mutual, and someone just said, "Oh, you could be a model and like you can make money on the side." And I was like, "Oh, I bet if I could get paid to take pictures, like fine." Like it. Not no weird shit, nothing like that, like official shit, not weird shit.
We don't find your OnlyFans, that's okay.
Nah, chill, nothing like that. But yeah, I put pictures on social media, and then they started like circulating, and they actually started circulating a couple countries in Africa. And then this producer hit me up, and he was like, "Yo, I want you to play lead in my movie." And first off,
that was the Jumbo Goes to Jazzy.
Yeah, Jumbo Goes to Josie. Yeah. And at first I'm like, all right, who is this dude? Like, who is this Nigerian scammer trying to get me? Yeah, but I looked him up. He was legit, and we FaceTimed, and he was basically like, I had no idea what I was doing. But he was basically, first he said, "Well, you're not bad enough not to do it." So I went to South Africa, and I was waking up every day at 6 a.m. going to set, working for 14, 15 hours a day, and was absolutely loving it. Like I've always been somebody that, the one thing that did connect me to acting was I've always been interested in psychology and like human behavior kind of stuff. So, stepping into somebody's shoes and really connecting myself to someone else's understanding and perspective was, fun to me based off of that interest. But yeah, I got flown out, put a nice hotel, and was with some very established African, like South African and Nigerian actors and actresses. And
was that the first time you went to Africa?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was the first time I left outside of like spring break Mexico. Like that was like the one time I'd actually, went out of the country. It was just such an experience, like being somewhere where, Black people are the majority. It's just like a different dynamic. Like it was like how much, there is some, colorism stuff there, but like outside of that, like just how much love they show to each other, and just the cultural dynamics of everybody looking like each other, just that alone just amazed me, and just how love they show between each other. But yeah, so I fell into acting. Like I'd never planned.
So your first role is some guy hitting you off your Instagram pictures saying, "Yo, I got a role for you." Across the world.
Yeah. I mean, my first role was
Bam.
it's like the dream, you know, discovered off of social media. But that's something I always clarify to people now, because I like to do, not consult people, but, you know, just put people on game and try to help them, you know, not waste their time with their career, like make more efficient decisions. And one thing I do tell people is, like, don't take my story as the formula for how to get on. Like, I've been just learning on the go, you know, just taking other people's experiences and learning from veterans and making sure I'm surrounded by people that are taking this seriously, you know, because I'm a business guy too. You know, my degree's in economics and finance. So, you know, one thing that people underestimate in this business is that it's a business. Like, it's not just about, yes, it's about the craft, obviously, but
I'm telling you, it's hard. People really think like you're just doing this shit for fun. Like,
yeah, no, and it's a
it's
lot.
crazy. Unprofessionalism, like the
Yeah.
kids, they don't take it seriously. It's like, and it's really disrespectful to you as like a creator, you know what I mean? That they don't take what you're doing seriously, because you take it seriously and you treat it as a business, but other people might not. And that's the fucked up part about the industry.
And that's where, like, not all activity is good activity. Like, jumping on to, you know, projects just to work. Like, you know, I had to come across some projects that I did before that I wouldn't do now, just because there are red flags of unprofessionalism, you know, red flags of not doing things the right way. Like, especially being an athlete, like, I've always been somebody, like, you know, if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it right. Yeah, I'm not working, but it's not worth putting my time here, because this is not gonna push my career forward and push my brand forward. It's gonna associate me with shit that I don't want people thinking that, you know, I'm involved with. I don't want people thinking I do these kind of movies.
So where do you get onto Power? Like, how does this happen?
So I was doing a fashion show for a guy who, he has like sunglasses or whatever in New York. And that agent just happened to be there and was like, I want to work with you. Like, granted, like, again, like, my story is not like the blueprint of how you get on. So that's why sometimes I like,
it's all good.
Story, but
everyone's got a different story.
I got like a couple credits with that agent, right? But they weren't really, you know, there's levels to agents, right? There's better agents than others. So, like, they worked for me. They were good. I did a NBC, The Enemy Within. That scene got cut, right? So I only got the credit, but the scene get cut. But still, I got, you know, a couple resume points there, and ID. I did a couple ID shows, and then I leveled up my representation, got a good manager, which put me onto a good agent. In 2019, things just started flowing. Like, I booked Law and Order, Power, and then Bull within like a 4 or 5 month span.
Power, you're in the warehouse, you know, Dre is on there, Rotimi, which didn't even know he was a whole fucking singer until like a couple months ago.
Oh yeah.
I've been listening to him and I didn't know it was Dre off Power. I'm like, oh damn.
Man, you know, he was so down to earth and so cool. He's another one that got like a crazy story. Like, he was telling me like he was a singer, like, he's a singer, and he was like, he just needed money. So his manager was just like, oh, go do this commercial. And like, he went and did the commercial, and the casting director was just like, oh, you should come in for this little role that we got for you. And he had never acted before. He didn't even know what sides were. And then he went in, booked the role, and ended up being like a series regular role. Everybody's story is different in this game. That's just the bottom line. Some people, it'll take, you know, 20 years to get on, but some people may take 2. It may take you 6 months, it may take 3 or whatever. But the biggest thing is just starting. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are scared to start, but yeah, Power was dope. I got lit the fuck up.
So are you shooting blanks in there? Like, when you're shooting the gun, are you shooting?
Yeah, I mean, they're blanks, but they're real guns. Like, I had to go through a whole like gun training, you know, safety stuff. Cause I think they had like an incident where either someone got injured or died or something like crazy like that before. So they had us go through like an official training and all that.
Because you only had 2 bullets left in your gun. Like, you was shooting before you got there, or?
How many I had? I think I had a full clip, but by the end I had ran through them, you know, missing. Apparently I was missing.
Because it was like boom, boom, and then you got shot.
yeah, right. I ran out, and then, you know, it's funny on set. So if you see, like, when I go to run to the gun, like, I'm like fumbling around with it, and then I pick it up, and that's when I get laid out. So the interesting part of that is that was not acting. Like, I swear, like every take I was trying to go pick up the gun, my clumsy ass just could not pick it up. Like,
they're like, we're just gonna keep it in. Obviously, you got butterfingers.
yeah, I mean, it worked because that was the reason why the fumble made sense for why I got lit up. But like, it was like take 8, and I think it was Rotimi came up. He was like, "Bro, you got this." Like, you tight, like cameraman. I'm like, fuck, like I'm a whole athlete, and I can't pick the gun up, but it ended up working. So it was cool. It was fun.
Who's your favorite character on Power?
Who's my favorite character? This is one thing about 50 I like 50 may only play one lane, or like, but he plays it well. Like, he's a very entertaining for me, like, because a lot of shit he does is very subtle because he just plays him. But
yeah, I feel like he's authentic.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He does what he does best. Obviously, I like Ghost.
Now, did you get to like work with, like, meet them all and everything, or do you just go to set to shoot and leave?
So we did a table read. So like literally everybody was there.
And what do you do at the table read? You just sit down and go over your notes?
We sit down and we just go through the whole episode. So everyone that's in the episode is at that read. And then we just go through from top to bottom, the beginning of the episode to the end of the episode. We have our, script, and it was mad fun. Like, I feel like too with that, table reads can be different, right? So I'm sure there's some table reads that are a bit more formal, but with Power, you're dealing with the majority Black cast, and you're dealing with people that have been together for years.
Right.
So it was very loose. Like, I could tell, like, these people are like, it's almost like they're professionals and this is their job, but it was like it had a family kind of feel to it. So like people would go off script, like add little ad libs or whatever, and laugh and joke. So Tommy was an interesting person. Tommy in the show, he's that cool ass, swag.
Right. He don't give a fuck.
Right. He don't give. Man, after the read, he comes up to me. So I'm like, what is he about to say? He's like, "Hey Quincy, how you doing? It was so nice to meet you. I'm so glad that you're on this show." Like, he sounds like a fucking like somebody's accountant, but he's like a mad, cool, like such a nice dude. Like,
damn,
the nicest dude that you would meet. Like I said, I had a couple lines to get lit the fuck up. Like, who the fuck am I? But he,
right. That's so crazy though. How actors that's why I feel like it's so weird how actors, like, how you guys actually act different than your character, because it's like you really acting like somebody that you're not.
Right, but with Tommy, he does that role too well. Like, there's no way he doesn't have some type of affiliation or something, like he didn't somewhat grow up in that kind of setting to be able to reference it. Because I mean, he's amazing at it, but yeah, like he was the one person I'm like, oh yeah, way different than you are. So, but it gave me that much more respect for him. So I'm like, man, you are one hell of an actor. And just like I like similar with him and like Ice-T, like somebody who's still very grounded. Like I said, he's showing love to everybody. Giving, whether it be tips or just having a good time. Like, still seeing grounded actors or grounded people that are at that level of fame is refreshing, and it's a reminder that you can be on and still
be humble.
Yeah, you still be humble. And that's important.
Then you're in Law and Order, you're getting arrested by Ice-T.
Yeah.
Okay, and then in The Bull, you're punking the kid, right? In the laundromat or wherever you were.
Yeah, and then he gets me too. First couple credits, they were killing me a little bit. I've gotten murdered a lot.
Most of the roles I saw, you were playing either like a gangbanger, a thug. Do you feel like people automatically put you in that category because of how you look?
Yeah, so like in New York, like when I first got into the industry and was trying to find like an agent, like there was one agent I remember, it was at BMG agency, and he was just like, with your look, I want you to, look tough. I need you to have headshots that are like, whatever, like that, like something weird. It was like some old ass white dude, whatever, that's saying this shit. But the reality is, I got the locks. I'm a relative to actors in the industry, because that was one thing I found out on Power. When I went to the table read, like everyone's mad small. Like people that you think are tall are like very short. So like on set, like I am like, a bigger dude, athletic build. So especially coming out, like the first couple of roles, that was the box that they were going to check me in. But now as my career started to progress, casting directors have seen me more. I've gotten more opportunities to go out for, I feel like roles that are more, in my lane and more towards my goals, which is, just being, a regular dude. It could be a love interest or a business professional, like something like that's really my goal, is to get into those lanes that are outside of the box for guys with locks. I do want to use TV and film to help fight against the stereotype and the stigma of Black men with locks. That was the same thing I was doing when I was working in Liberty Mutual, being successful, working in business with my locks. And I think I can do that on a much broader scale, through TV and film.
How many times have people asked you to cut your locks to get better roles?
Oh, so the only one time it happened was I was in a callback for The Bold and the Beautiful, actually. Soap opera. And the cast, yes.
I can see you.
Director, yeah, mad dramatic. Casting director came out and said, she was like, would you be okay with cutting your locks? And I told her, what I said was, I would trim them. I'm not cutting my locks, because the reality is, while yes, there is an uphill battle with having my locks, the reality is it is a part of my look. I feel like my locks are, if I'm being honest, like my look, including my locks, is the reason why that I did get a jump start in my career, just because I was always that, I guess, different choice compared to most of the talent pool. It just comes down to just being your genuine self, being your genuine essence, whether that's your look, your personality, whatever. That's always going to be the thing that's going to be, the original.
And you've been growing up 17 years?
Shit, now this will be year 18. This will be
you got a whole kid on your head.
Yeah, like a grown man on my head.
Well, I think I speak for the world. Never cut your locks.
Thank you. Okay. No, I'm not, man, because that, to me, that's me quitting.
But to change the world, we have to change what we're doing. So we can't just be conforming,
Right, and you got to be like you got to be excellent while being, your genuine self, or being that look. Like if you want to change the stigma, like with my specific situation, if I want to change the stigma towards Black men with locks, then I need to be excellent and work through the nose or the cloak. Like now, I'm going out for a lot of, like the love interest or a father or a business professional. And I feel like I am that different choice. And I'm getting to the point now where I'm getting close, like down to the final two, whatever. And, they go with the more standard guy, and I have to be okay with that. Once you get that big opportunity to break, now your career is just going to continue to go because you've stuck to your originality and you were successful through your originality. Now you're differentiated and you're recognized. People recognize you quickly. They remember you quickly. And you're going to stand out. But in the beginning, it's a little harder to break through because you're the, I guess, different option. But the different option is can likely have the longevity to have a stable and long career.
And do you think it has anything to do with you being light-skinned?
So I'm glad you're the one that brought that up. So the reality is, like, I do believe that I've gotten some opportunities that maybe I wouldn't have gotten because I'm light-skinned. And I do think that there are some opportunities that I didn't quite get, especially in the thug lane, because especially in New York, because in New York, like some of the crime shows, like they want, I guess a grittier looking guy.
Not a pretty boy.
Grittier looking guy. You know what I'm saying? Like they want, for what they want the urban, like they like to say, like the more urban look, the guy that's, darker complexion, maybe a little rougher or whatever.
Maybe a tat here and there.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that's just, I mean, it is what it is. But, you know, I know that, you know, I have gotten opportunities because I have a less, I guess, intimidating look, if you want to say that, to the people that make decisions. And, you know, I know that, and I'm not gonna shy away from that. I know that's a reality. My only hope is that by me being successful with those, you know, shallow advantages, I guess, in some cases in that lane, I'm hoping that it still opens up the door again for other people that, you know, look similar to me, especially with, you know, black men with locks that don't necessarily look like me. So that's the goal. But I think definitely, yeah, my lighter complexion, my look definitely has had an effect. If I'm keeping it a buck, I mean, that's just,
that's just life.
That's the thing. A lot of the stereotypes and negative bullshit stigmas that we see in society, a lot of times they reflect what's in TV and film. So like media has such influential impact on society. So again, that's where, like, for me, it's like, yes, maybe it'll take me longer, maybe it'll be faster, but it's so important to show the imagery that you want to show on TV and film or the media, so that gets translated into the real world and into, you know, everyday society. So we combat those different negative stereotypes and stigmas towards.
Yeah. Well, it starts with us, you know, it starts with the kids. Whoever's next, you got to teach your kids, because that's the only way the world's going to change. Because this shit's been going on forever and it's still going on. And it's crazy to me that 400 years ago, it's like, why is this still happening hundreds of years later? Like, that shit's crazy. So the only way to do it is to talk about it and to fucking teach about it, because that's the only way we're going to change anything.
100%. There's nothing to add on to that. That's 100.
So what are you doing naked at the door in the movie Flowers?
You saw it.
It's on your reel, so everyone can go watch it.
Yeah, I've never put that one on my social media. Nah, it was a comedy short film. It was one of my first short films that I did. One of my first projects that was one of my first projects that I actually, like, you know, went through the audition process, had a callback, the director, whatever, book. But yeah, basically it's this dude that's about to profess his love
to the girl that you're already fucking.
Well, we don't.
Right?
It's not said, right?
That's what I'm saying, but you were implying.
Well,
like,
that's just my roommate, you know. I mean, maybe I'm piping it down.
Did they make you audition naked?
Nah, I wasn't naked, you know.
Yeah, but in the scene, what are you wearing? Are you wearing a banana hammock? Like, what are you wearing in the front?
Just like a sock. like a tape sock. Just, you know, it's funny too, like the door has, you know, like a window. So there's people walking by and they just like just walking their dog. I think we're in like Brooklyn too. Like somewhere like one of like the bougie part of Brooklyn. So oh, like, but it was mad fun though.
Like, everything's been happening quick for you, right? Like,
yeah,
we got a lot of little series. We got Homicide City, Bubbly Brown Sugar series, Murder Decoded. We got BET, Too Grown. So what do you think's the biggest character difference that you have played so far that's out of your character?
Oh, Too Grown, definitely. So at first, I'm like, you know, like I'm the love interest, like I'm the new boyfriend that the girl's showing off to her friends or whatever. And then it's a comedy, right? So like we play this game where it was like a gender flip. So like a Freaky Friday kind of thing. My girl ends up going into my body. So I had to act like I was my girl side of my body.
I have to watch this later.
Yeah, so that was fun. And then, you know, the funny thing about that one was, like, I went on the set, like, at first I come in, you know, I'm just kind of scoping out the scene. And I'm kind of, like, you know, I'm friendly, but I'm a little to myself. So, I mean, a lot of actors are very outgoing out the gate. But once it's time to go, it's time to go for me. So when I turned it on and, you know, I'm being this sassy chick, it was like a shocker because they were like, oh, where the fuck you come from? You
this motherfucker was just in the corner, like a
yeah,
mouse.
really, like
Mousy over here snapping.
Yeah, but it was mad. man. When it's time to work, it's time to work.
What kind of woman did they make you act like? Like a cool one or like a?
No, she was a very like outgoing, outspoken. I'm gonna say what I want to say. I'm gonna say what's on my mind with attitude.
Angie Ma, gotcha.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
You played Angie Ma, Quincy.
But it was mad fun to do. It was mad fun. I mean, it definitely just reminded me that all that just overly masculine stuff where you can't like just be loose and have fun. Like just because I did that, like that doesn't have any sort of like doesn't mean I'm less of a man or something like that because I acted something out like that. It's just a reminder to just not take shit overly seriously and just have a good time and just enjoy life. Don't be so stuck up in trying to look a certain way or appeal a certain way that you miss out on opportunities to enjoy yourself. And
I have such a fun life and I just don't give a fuck. And like I always have fun. People are like, "You're so happy." I'm like, I know.
Because you know what? If you don't, that's on you. That's your choice to be stuck up, all up in your head. Like that's on you.
So is there some kind of character that you want to play in the future?
So I do have a movie that I shot last year in April that does go towards the lane that I want to go to. He is granted he does have fuckboy tendencies because he, cheated at his bachelor party before he got married and getting and stuff. But he grows in the film. Like he has some growth. But he is doing well for himself. Like that was one of the first shows where, I'm in a suit or I'm in, business casual, business professional clothing, a black man that's making good money with locks. Those are things that I'm passionate about getting to just because those mean more to me than just like my career in acting. Like those are the things I feel like
because you're making steps in the industry, like you said, to break barriers. So
right, and bring social impact, like similar to how that wave of having more women of color with curls in the medical field on a lot of these medical shows. Like I feel like since that wave started happening, granted it's not where it needs to be, but you see more women that look like that in those type of fields. There's more of an openness to people being able to do those jobs that look like that. I've seen it right there. And I just think there is a lot of impact with being able to have that imagery in media does translate to the real world and help people be more open to realize, okay, just because this person looks like this doesn't mean they can't, do this thing. The change can't just happen with people, I guess, that you call at the bottom. Like you need that change and influence in those power positions, in those positions with people that are decision makers and can actually have, larger scale impact. And that's not just with entertainment, that's with, corporations diversifying their leadership, like things like that, bringing in, which would then, bring in more diverse group of people to operate a business. Anything that has to do with money, it benefits them more. They have more equity or stake in whatever that, industry that they're in, sharing less with those that they're oppressing. If you follow the money and follow the economics of how shit flows, you'll see the very real foundational racist thing.
Did you ever have a spiritual awakening yet in your life?
Oh yeah. I've always kind of leaned on my faith. I think definitely when I got into this entertainment lane, because before, I went to college, played football, then went to a job, like everything was very structured and standardized. Like I knew what was happening next. I had a lot more control of the situation. Whereas when I went into entertainment, now I'm dealing with a lot more uncertainty. I'm dealing with doubt. I'm dealing with this roller coaster of feelings and emotions. And it forced me to lean on my faith and, with my specific higher power and what I believe in and what I believe can influence my life and control and has the real control over the things that I have absolutely no control over. It forced me to build it, when I entered acting, because for me, if I didn't lean on a higher power, then I wouldn't, for me personally, I wouldn't make it. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be
You got to
able,
believe in something.
yeah,
It doesn't matter like who your God is or what you pray to, but you got to
yeah,
believe in something higher than yourself.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that's what's going to get you through.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it definitely, like, I think some people think that it takes away from believing in yourself to put it in somebody else's hand. But I personally think that it's a compliment. It allows me to take pressure off of myself and just to do the best that I can and put the rest in, whatever I believe in. And that allows me to be more free and not beat myself up as much, because it's not about me. I don't have control over what's going to happen next. I don't necessarily have control over outcomes. I have control over what I control, what I do, my actions, and the rest is what's meant to happen. What's going to be for me is for me. But so definitely going into this lane definitely forced me to, open up, my spirituality and face myself too, like especially through the pandemic, like, learning how to be okay in the stillness and learning how to like face myself when I'm not distracted by, the coming and going and the running around that comes with the business. So there was a lot of growth and a lot of reflection, and it made me a stronger actor, I think too, because it made me more aware of myself,
right?
And which then allowed me to be able to better, because the more awareness I have of myself, the better I can connect genuinely and understand, a character and find that common ground, find that bridge, so I can tell that character's story in a genuine manner.
I saw in your fucking extensive relationship highlight there.
Oh yeah, that was a.
I just put that shit down. I was like, damn, this motherfucker going.
Yeah, so I got posted on Shade Room, and like.
What happened? Oh, you were on Shade Room,
or you saw Shade Room like 2 or 3 times.
Okay,
like just like a different, like, man crush type shit, but.
Ladies, would you hit? And it's like 17,000 comments.
Right. Comment below, like, obviously I look at comments, so people, you got some women talking shit, talking about, oh, he's an actor, used to be financial analyst, oh, he ain't got a job, he don't work. It wasn't just about me. Like, a lot of it was directed to some of the other guys who were, entrepreneurs in their own profession, doing different things, and it's like there were some women who wanted to bash that guy because they're not in a lane that they recognize or they feel like is what they're supposed to be doing. But then when those guys elevate themselves, now it's cool.
Right.
But you didn't want to rock with them when they were building. You can't, like,
I just feel like, who the fuck are you? Like, who the fuck are you to talk about anybody?
Right, and that's what it comes down to.
Like, you took your energy to go and comment on this post.
Right.
Like, and you're probably sitting at home eating fucking Fruit Loops out your belly button.
Yeah.
So who do you think's been your biggest supporter to date?
I had a college teammate and then a roommate that I lived with after school. I would say, because they were the ones that actually pushed me. Because at first, like, even when I was thinking about even modeling, like, I was like, oh, I don't know. Like, I don't even know how to go about it. And then my boy was just like, you thinking too much. Just do it. Like, stop bullshitting. Like, you're not going to start something unless you put yourself out there and do it. Like, what's the worst thing going to happen? Like, they're going to tell you no. Okay, you go somewhere else. So those 2 guys have definitely been the guys that have just constantly push me to, continue my journey, reassure me. They check on me when, I'm not the best about reaching out or checking on them. Like, those are definitely the guys that, like, are one of the more solid people, and supporters of this lane. And I mean, if it wasn't for them, I probably I may not even be in this lane. I may not even be at this point at this particular time. So definitely them.
Shout out to y'all.
Yeah. And my father too. I mean, my father supports me with everything, but
does your dad have locks too?
No, he does not. But the funny thing about him was, I remember I did like a Father's Day post with him. I put it side by side, showing it was him, and like, yo, his IG blew up after like he gained like 10 females in his DM. I'm like, damn, you get more love than me.
Damn, daddy.
Yeah, for real. Like they were all in the comments like, shit, I want the day. Like this milk, like, or forget this. I forget what they were saying. Like, I need something mature. Like, this is like it was crazy. It was crazy. So, and then he got gassed like crazy.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, that's my dog. Like he, outside of raising me, like he was always my coach. Like that's definitely been the person that made me who I am today by far. Definitely my father.
Word. Good job, Dad.
Exactly. Good job.
Okay, so I know you have to have some like crazy girl story. What's your craziest encounter with a female?
Shit, I gotta dig.
Go through the Rolodex.
Nah, chill. You trying to call me out? Trying to expose me. The craziest thing. Fuck yeah. All right. So I was dealing with this chick or whatever. So I'm the type that I'm gonna be very honest. Like if we're like together serious, then I'm gonna communicate that. If we're not, then I'm gonna have check-ins to make sure you're still informed about where I'm at, so you can make it. So
what he's saying is he is a gentleman when he's a player. He's a gentleman.
I allow you to make informed decisions.
I think that if communication happened more, people would be a lot happier, but everyone goes into things and they don't like communicate it. So if you say like, hey, I just want to be a fuck buddy, and then next week people want to be in like relationships and shit, that shit's like, it's crazy.
Yeah. No, it's nonsense. But I think a lot of men need to understand, like, I feel like you have to have check-ins, like, especially with dealing with, even both sides though, men and women, but people get
all right, it's our daily, what day is it? Tuesday check-in?
Yeah, all right, time for a meeting. We need to reevaluate, what's going on. We need to reflect.
Your performance this week sucks.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the expectations moving forward, like we need to have an understanding of what's to come. No, so I felt like I had those with her, but she just, despite that, because I feel like some people, no matter what you say to them, they want to believe.
Yeah, it's called being crazy.
So what happened? So I'm asleep. Like I'm not even with nobody. Like I'm not with nobody else. Like I'm just asleep by myself. My roommate comes downstairs and he's like, yo, such and such is in our living room. I'm like, what? Like I said, I'm like half asleep. I'm like, and I hadn't even, we kind of had a disagreement because of that lack of understanding. I had to reaffirm to her what that was, and I guess she was mad or whatever. But basically, he tells me that, yeah, so she came in banging on the door, like, drunk, popping up. And he said, yeah, I didn't know about letting her in, so I was kind of blocking her, and then she rushed me, started poking me. I was like, hold on. He was like, yeah, man, like she started, like choking me, and then like let me go and started laughing, and I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, all right. So I went upstairs and I see this girl. She's just sitting on the couch, and then it was just like she was calling me all kind of names and saying, what I'm doing. And then I'm like, all right, if you feel this way, why are you popping up? And just leave. And then she would just like flip and like refuse to leave. And I'm getting, I can be emotional. So now I'm getting frustrated. I'm like, what the fuck you want to do? And she starts like, my roommate gets in between us. And then she starts
the one that already got choked.
Yeah. Like, I'm like, bro.
He's the real MVP.
Man, we put this in the line for her. And she's like, max him up a little bit again. Like it was crazy. Like, I didn't know. Like it was just, but the funny thing about him is, for whatever reason, like that actually was not the last time that he ended up getting a little beat up by a woman. I don't know why it's always him, but like this time he got choked. Like another time he got in between two females and like got like smacked up there too. Like,
he's one of those people that like thinks he can stop the fight. Like when it's happening,
not
like
about
he
that at
jumps
all,
in,
bro.
like
He's not about that at all, but he is. It's something we always joke about.
So what's your biggest concern now? Because now you're a girl dad, right? Congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
So your daughter's how old?
She's 1. Well, she's I forget what the months. Was she 14 months? She's 1 year old. Yeah, I don't know.
People be like, she's 47 months. I'm like,
yeah.
I don't have.
right. She's a year old. She's a little year and some change.
What do you think's like the hardest thing about being a girl dad now, going through life, since sports, since doing everything, and like we all know how it is as a man.
Oh,
so
man.
What's your biggest concern now that you have to raise a daughter?
Shit, now you bringing my fears to the surface. That's the things I try not to think about.
This is also the therapy faded truth.
yeah. Facing my fears head on. I do want to make sure that I conduct myself in a way that, my daughter's never looking at me like, I want her to look at me and always think that I'm like a good man. And then the fear, but the more so the fear side too, that's out of my control is, these little horn dogs that's everywhere. I mean, I remember, I think definitely as I've gotten older, I've definitely, obviously I've grown, I've toned it down, but it wasn't that long ago that, I was the savage in my day. You know what I'm saying? Like I was.
How old are you?
How old am I now? I'm 26.
Oh, you still got like 4 years left before you grow up a little, maybe.
Well, I don't know. Like I went through some things that caused me to really, reflect and really check my ego, which was honestly fueled by a lot of insecurities to have a certain image of, being this kind of man and being somebody that had a bunch of women around him all the time and women that wanted him that can get what he wanted to get whenever I wanted to, which that's like, it's ego, but it's really like an insecurity to want to seem that way. But before I just thought, because I grew up around men that, that was an affirmation of your manlyhood to, have a bunch of women around you and deal with multiple women. So, just different things made me realize that and grow out of that and realize, and just having more, control and, respect for not only just a woman that I'm dealing with, like seriously, but when my daughter gets older, it's just, especially teenage boys, like these little dudes they just so bold. These little girls think that that's what they should shoot for.
Mm-hmm.
It's just still
goes back to teaching, it goes back to teaching your kids.
Right. So I think a big thing for me is teaching, but also not being like overbearing to where that she feels like she can't talk to me. So I don't want my daughter to ever feel like I'm like judging her. Like I'm like, yes, there's a fine line between teaching.
She just don't want you to pull the shotgun out. So she's going to be very careful what she tells you. What do you think you would tell like your younger self if you could go back? What's like a one piece of advice that you would give to yourself and others at this point in your life at 26?
Stop worrying so much about what other people got to say about what you're doing and where you're going. That's a much easier said than done, right? We're gonna listen to what other people say, but work towards having enough confidence in yourself, your faith in your higher power towards where you're going, to where you don't allow other people to lead you towards doing things that either you don't want to do, you don't have no business doing, or it's not best for you, or it's not for you. I think there are things that people do or get into that they're not even doing it for themselves. They're doing it to appease, whether it be somebody else or their thought process of what somebody else thinks, which that takes you off the path of being your genuine self and going towards your personal purpose and leading towards where you should be going. That's not just with entertainment. That's just across the board, especially in this age of, image and social media and feeling pressure to look a certain way or to appease to certain people, especially people that have no influence over what you're doing.
And people that just don't give a fuck about you. Like,
right.
You're worried about people that do nothing to contribute to your lives.
Right. And a lot of times they're people that feed off of your detriment or downfall because it makes them feel better about themselves where they view that they're at. So you're just feeding into somebody else's insecurities by, letting them put you down or put you in a place that's not on your authentic path. So have fun, but be in your lane and just be confident in yourself and have faith in where you're going.
Word.
One thing I really hope for is that my journey and revealing because a lot of people, they reveal to you where they started and where they're at, but not the in-between, which the in-between is where you become relatable. So I'm hoping that, people can follow my journey and see me as somebody who, grew up in Indianapolis, Indiana, the middle of nowhere, and just stayed consistent.
In the cornfields.
Right next to a cornfield, and just stayed consistent and achieved his, pursued his passion and she achieved his goals and found his personal success and look at that as, okay, this is a regular dude that if he can do it, I can do it too. What I'm saying? Like everybody has the ability to pursue their path. So, but I think a lot of people can be reassured by seeing somebody that they relate to and understanding that, there's a middle ground of failure, discomfort, setbacks, challenges. Folks that have the longevity, like they all faced it, especially in this industry. Like even working actors, even A-list actors will probably tell you they faced more no's than yeses. That's just the nature of the business. And that's even with even a person you trying to start a business. Like just because you have a no doesn't mean that your product or service doesn't have value. And understanding that just a no doesn't necessarily mean that you got to switch up or change things up.
Right. It's just part of it. All right, Quincy, thank you so much for being on the show.
Yes, thanks.
Did you have a good time?
I did. I had a great time.
I saw you almost done. I'm done my sangria. You done your crown?
Yeah. I'm at the end. Yeah.
All right, guys. Until next time. Peace.
I got perfect timing if you want to test. Put you on the next flight going to Budapest. I got a spot for you if you're trying to join the team. It's ours world, baby girl, we make enemies.